Hello, everyone. Thank you for attending this MOACAC Virtual College Fair event. Tonight, you'll hear a presentation from DePauw University. If you have any questions, there is a Q&A button at the bottom of your screen where you can type your question in. And if the presenters are not able to get to all questions, they will get a transcript of the questions and they can contact you after the presentation. Your camera and microphone are off. You can see the presenters, but they cannot see you. If you want to attend more sessions, there are plenty more sessions coming up and you can sign up at moacac.org. And if you are not able to stay on the whole recording or there's other sessions you want to view, you can see all of the sessions from this fair at moacac.org as well. So I'm going to turn it over to the DePauw team.
Awesome. Good evening, everybody. I hope you are all doing super wonderful this evening. I'm Natalie Lugg, the admission counselor for the St. Louis area. I've been at DePauw University for about 7 years. I went to a very similar institution. You guys might have heard of it, Denison University, that graduated from there back in 2014. But I am also joined by a local St. Louis student, current student at DePauw, Emily Parham. So I also want to make sure she introduced herself before we get started.
Hello, I'm Emily. Like Natalie said, I'm also from St. Louis. I am a senior now at DePauw, which is crazy to think. I am a history major and a biology minor, and I am planning on going to nursing school after college.
And which high school did you attend in St. Louis?
I went to Villa.
Very good. I know it's a big deal for St. Louis students to know the high school, so wanted to throw that in there. Well, guys, again, thank you for joining us tonight. I wanted to start just kind of giving you a little bit of the background of who our students are, where they come from. These are just kind of the most up-to-date numbers that we have, especially with this new incoming class coming in. Every incoming class, I guess, revolves around 400 to 500 students. Even though we're an institution that's in the state of Indiana, we're just 45 minutes west of Indianapolis, Greencastle, Indiana. Only about 33% of our students actually come from Indiana. We draw heavily from Chicago, Cincinnati, St. Louis, of course, up in Michigan, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. And then we actually are also pulling a lot from, say, Texas, New England as well. So a variety of students from all over. I also cover the West Coast, and I did a count last summer, and I had about 33 students on campus from the states of California, Oregon, and Washington State as well. So there is a representation across the board. I read a student application from Alaska, and she was on campus for 4 years. I believe she graduated at this point. It's hard to keep track of all of you guys that I work with, but we have a College of Liberal Arts as well as a School of Music. That kind of what makes us a little bit unique, in that about 1,000, majority of our students, I guess, are in the College of Liberal Arts. But any student, whether you're enrolled in the School of Music or not, you have opportunities to participate in the classes and the musicals and any of the vocal groups, orchestra groups, and also private lessons. So that's something, if you guys have a musical interest but you don't want to quite enroll in the School of Music, that is also an opportunity for you. But Emily, how did you find DePauw and what got you interested in coming here?
Yes, so my dad actually went to DePauw, and so we went to Indy for a country music concert a couple summers ago. But on our way back to St. Louis, he was like, "Oh, we got to stop by my college," and that was the first time. And it was just, we only walked around campus. We didn't have a tour at all, and it was just the initial beauty of the campus struck me. And then junior year, I came back and did an official tour, and that's kind of when things were like, I could really see myself here.
When did you think you officially decided that you were going to come here?
I would say February of my senior year. I would say I didn't wait too long to make the decision, but it was still a little of a back and forth. But it was definitely February, and it was just I went one more tour and I walked around campus, and I just, like, that moment where you can see yourself on a college campus. I had that, and I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be.
That's awesome. And what other schools were you checking out besides DePauw? Who else were runners up?
Yes, so it came down to DePauw and Indiana University, which is very shocking because those are very opposite sides of the spectrum. IU is huge and DePauw is small, and since I went to a smaller high school, I kind of like the idea of a bigger classroom setting. But when I visited DePauw, I sat in on a history class, and that was when I realized that I really appreciated, like, the professors knowing my name. I appreciated having people recognize other students' face in class, and like we sat in a circle and did a discussion-based class, and it wasn't as much lecture, and that was just something that I really enjoyed, and that's something I valued at my high school too.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Another fun fact about Emily is that her younger sister actually also attends DePauw, and she was down to IU, I think, in DePauw in her final decision, which is crazy.
Enough, so. Right?
Well, jumping into more of the academic side of things, I know I touched on opportunities that the College of Liberal Arts students can take in the School of Music, but on the College of Liberal Arts side, you will see our top 10 most popular majors listed here. Our students aren't required to officially declare a major until their second semester of sophomore year. I believe it's literally the week before spring break where we do kind of a week-long celebration of our sophomores, and they're choosing to double major or have a major and a minor. I will say it's very typical for not only students at DePauw, but also other liberal arts institutions to double major at the very least, have a major or minor. I majored in economics and minored in history, for example. But a lot of that is because of the exploration that you're going to be doing in all different types of classes. And it's not just pigeonholing yourself into one specific corner with your major or minor, but also, you know, taking that first year and a half that you have to really figuring out which academic departments you really gravitate towards, while also covering other graduation requirements that will work on a variety of other different skill sets. So you'll learn about strengthening oral communication skills, writing skills, research skills. Even if you're in the humanities or the social sciences, there are going to be different skill sets that you'll find that come from the quantitative reasoning side, such as math and science, that you're going to utilize throughout your 4 years at DePauw, but also throughout your career as well. And I know Emily shared that she is a history major and a biology minor, if I remember correctly. Yep, and is headed to nursing school. So that's another great thing about the liberal arts, is that no matter what pathway you choose on the academic side of things, you are going to find that all of the skill sets that you are learning and strengthening throughout your time at DePauw can be applied anywhere you go, whether that's for medical school, maybe the pre-law track, graduate school, or just an entry-level position after DePauw as well. But some of our students also like to raise the bar a little bit higher in their academic fields as well as their career fields. So what does that mean? A lot of it is getting involved in any of these 4 honors and fellows programs. These all are kind of how I describe it, the fast track of the liberal arts, the academic side of things, but also the fast track to your career path. And that allows for being within these programs, kind of opening more doors to networking opportunities, professional development opportunities. Your first 2 years in each program are more classroom focused, kind of getting the ball rolling with what you could do in the programs. And then your second 2 years are more that career development. So your junior year, a lot of these programs will definitely require some sort of off-campus opportunity, whether it's a paid internship, a study abroad, a research opportunity, and then you come back senior year and do a senior capstone project, which is a culmination of what you've been doing the past 3 years, but also where you're going next. So there's kind of a theme throughout your 4 years at DePauw, whether you're in an honors and fellows program or not, but we always want to make sure that you're actively thinking about where you're going next after DePauw and not just waiting till senior year to do that. Emily, do you have any friends who are involved in any of these programs?
Yes, I think I know someone at least all of these programs, and they all have great things to say about it. I know the Honor Scholar program has really, my roommate last year was in the Honor Scholar program, and she was telling me about how one of her classes was like evolution from like an arts and humanities standpoint, which was really interesting because I had taken Bio 102 and like the scientific standpoint, but they were talking about it through like a historical, and it was just really interesting, and like reading like more like literature on it. And I just know these programs are really awesome.
Wow. And that's the other great thing, I think, not just even about the Honor Scholar program, but also just liberal arts, is how many more conversations that you're going to find that you have that you never thought you would have, whether it's in relation to your major, your minor. You'll also see all of these different connections, all the different classes you're taking, which is also super fun. But these are a separate application from the college application. Typically, we tell students to apply via the Common App to DePauw and then circle back and look at these programs to see which ones they want to apply to. Majority of students, I say, apply to at least 2, if not 3 programs, just because they have multiple interests. And we have had some students who paired 2 programs together and participated in them throughout all 4 of their years. But For those students who aren't quite at that level or don't want to be quite that highly ranked in terms of like academics and such, we have a variety of different other opportunities for you to get your foot in the door with the career path of your choice, but also with extracurriculars, clubs, and organizations. And that can be done through a lot of our academic centers that you see here on this page. I'd say the most popular one is probably the dark blue, the Hubbard Center for Student Engagement, because that's where students will go to check out study abroad programs, talk to a career advisor, go and hear about any career fairs that are happening, figure out what types of internships they want to get involved in. One of my favorite ones is the Prindle Institute for Ethics. It's kind of the opposite side of the Hubbard Center. That is off campus, actually. The one that is only off campus, it's in our nature park, actually, which is 520 acres of hiking, biking, running trails. And the Prindle Institute is also right next door to our Bartlett Reflection Center, which is where we host yoga classes. There's a meditation room. But both Bartlett and Prindle are great places to go study, to read applications. If you're an admission counselor, you can have ethics internships out there, be a part of one of the biggest high school ethics bowls on campus. And yes, I did say high school. We invite all high schools across the nation to come compete in this huge ethics bowl at the Prindle Institute. And then there's also our ethics library that is out there. But Emily, is there one here that you've kind of gotten involved with a lot, or maybe that you've been super interested in?
I would definitely agree that the Hubbard Center probably is the one I've used most, as most students probably do. My freshman year, I needed to make a resume and didn't have a formal one because I was applying to internships. And I literally just walked in and said I would like help getting my resume written, and they helped me right away. And I also know that they have students who sit down and have like office hours of sorts, you can call it. And they're also like walk-in office hours where you can just go and sit down and ask them a variety of questions on different topics of like resume building, interview practice. It's a great center to make sure that you use if you come to DePauw.
A lot of different resources too, and in any of the academic centers, not just the Hubbard Center, that can really help get your foot in the door with where you want to go next with classes, but also with that career development. One of my favorite things about DePauw is also the off-campus opportunities. And I think that's one thing that we definitely push for students to participate in. We actually require 2 extended studies throughout a student's 4 years at DePauw, and that could be any of these opportunities. Yes, there is the option to also stay on campus, whether it be through research or maybe a class on campus during winter term. We have a 4-1-4-1 system in place where you'll take 4 classes in the fall and spring semester and then have the option to participate in a winter term or May term opportunity. So it could be a faculty-led trip to Thailand, to the Galapagos. It could be EMT training certification. It could be doing a quick internship with Parliament in Scotland. Or another big thing is also taking classes in the month of January. And I think a lot of our first years opt into participating in that one because they're not quite ready to go off campus. They're not sure where they want to go. So these classes are very much outside of your major or minor during the semesters. You're not going to see these classes being taught in the fall or the spring. So another great way to really break out of your shell and see other opportunities and kind of open your mind that much more to what else you could be discussing in classes. Emily, did you participate in any winter term or May terms?
I did. I actually participated in the EMT winter term that's pictured in the top left corner. That was my class. And it was a really awesome experience because typically the EMT course is 6 months, but at DePauw you take it in 3 weeks. And it is an intense course, but it's really awesome. You get really great experience. You learn a lot of things. I'm in anatomy too right now, and some of the stuff I learned in my EMT class is helping me now. And also one of my favorite parts was you have to do 2 days of clinical rotations. And one day is you get to ride on the ambulance, which is really awesome. And then the other days you get to do triage in the emergency room, which is kind of, if you're interested in medicine, really exciting field. It's like take people's vitals, their blood pressure. It was a really, really awesome experience. And I definitely recommend to anybody who's maybe not even going into the medical field specifically, but just interested in something like that, because it's something that is definitely unique to DePauw.
Wow. That is amazing. I can't believe that. That is so cool. Also that you can apply the EMT training to your classes now. That is really, really awesome. I know some students will ask, what other study abroad opportunities are there? I say go for a full semester if you can. I got to go to Copenhagen, Denmark for my fall semester. Even though I was a D3 athlete, I also found a swim team that I could swim with while I was out there. But about 65% of our students will study abroad for a full semester, but 90% will go off campus for some sort of opportunity. It could be study abroad, but it could also just be a winter term, May term trip opportunity. It could be an internship. It could be research off campus. So the options are endless. I definitely say go off campus if you can, because it can really help you figure out where you're going next with your life and kind of check off the yeses of what you want, and also maybe cross off the no's of what you definitely know you don't want. So definitely something to keep in mind. But we all know that we're not going to be in the classroom as much as we are in high school. So how else are you going to fill your time besides studying all the time, maybe being in practice if you're an athlete, participating in an honors fellows program? There are so many endless resources and opportunities, no matter what institution you end up attending. The great thing is we not only want to send you out into the world, but we also want to bring the world to you. So it could be through some of our different speaker series. Our biggest one is the Oven Lecture Speaker Series. We do have academic departments that will also bring in smaller speakers, or speaker series, I guess, for their students who are majoring or minoring in their particular academic areas. But some speakers that I've heard and seen have been like Leslie Odom Jr. from Hamilton. He played Aaron Burr. Malala is another one, as you can see here. David Cameron, actually, he Prime Minister of the Brexit. When I was studying and reading applications in the Prindle Institute for Ethics, they were giving him a tour across Prindle, and all of a sudden he walked past when I was in the ethics library, and it was the craziest thing. I think it was real. Sometimes it feels like a dream. I wasn't able to get a picture of him, but I was that close to David Cameron, which is awesome. So there's so many different opportunities, not just on the speaker side, but with the school music on campus. Different performances, whether it's our students, Yo-Yo Ma, the Indianapolis Symphony Orchestra, the 128 clubs and organizations. You'll learn a lot about them in our activities fairs that we have on campus. I believe we do have one in fall and spring semester, the very first week that classes begin. I think a lot can go also to our tight-knit community and really getting to know each other. And that much more will then, being able to connect with all these people will then help you network that much more with where you want to go next. So everybody lives on campus all 4 years, which I think helps with that tight-knit community, but you're not just residents. You'll live in a suite style opportunity, an apartment, a duplex, which is a university-owned home split into two. Or if you choose to rush and join a sorority or fraternity, you could live in your Greek house if you so choose. But we also have deferred rush. So our students don't go through and explore the sororities and fraternities until second semester of their freshman year. So you've got plenty of time in that first semester to really adjust and figure out if that is a good fit for you, if that's how you want to, I guess, give your time to that opportunity. I know every single sorority and fraternity is also tied in with a philanthropy, and about 68% of campus are involved. Emily, what all do you do here on campus?
Oh, that's a great question. So I am involved in a Greek house. I love being in a Greek house. I went in with an open mind through recruitment. I did not have a house in particular I had to have, because some people go in like, I need this, but I wanted to see what everything had to offer. And I love my sorority. I was involved on the executive board as a panelitic delegate, so I got to also work with other sororities across campus. And then I was a part of our non-executive board on the standards, specifically standards board, which was also a really interesting opportunity. I also, to talk about like the clubs and organizations, freshman year, as Natalie said, there is a clubs and organizations fair the first week of classes, and you go with your first year mentor group. And I walked in and I just signed up for like anything that seemed somewhat interesting to me. I just signed up for it. And one of the clubs I signed up for was Relay for Life, and I had never done Relay for Life before. So the first day of the first meeting we had, I walked in and I did not realize I was walking into an executive board meeting and was put on the executive board of Relay for Life my first year. But again, that was also really, really awesome because I was a part of community outreach and philanthropy, community service. And it was really awesome because I got to not only talk to like the people on the executive board from DePauw, but then I went out and I talked to different restaurants, and I got to meet the people, like local owners of restaurants around town, and they would sponsor events. And it was honestly a really great accident, I guess you could call. So lots of ways to get involved.
a lot of options out there and a lot of learning opportunities from getting involved too. That's for sure. That is so crazy that you're on the exec board your freshman year. I love that. So I do also want to mention, especially with this page, that not only do we want our students to be successful throughout their 4 years at DePauw, we want you to be successful afterwards. So how else can we connect you with different resources, different people to really get your foot in the door and start laying down stepping stones to your end career goal, whatever that may be. So it could be the EMT training certification that Emily did to prepare her for nursing school. It could be working in Parliament in Scotland to prepare you for law school. It could be connecting with our graduate advisors to see which graduate programs really fit you and where you want to go next. But a lot of it is really just making sure that you're finding the right fit for you. And that could be through the different academic classes that you're taking. It could be through the involvement. I know a lot of our students, I would definitely describe a typical DePauw student as piling their plate high with as many things as possible, and then realizing that they piled it too high and they have to dial it back. But I think that's also a great learning curve to really see what means the most to you and really where do you want to spend your time. So that is also another opportunity to really break outside of your comfort zone and learn a lot more about yourself. But a big piece of our commitment to you guys is also through the gold commitment. And what that entails is all of you coming in as freshmen will go through already right off the bat opportunities to really start thinking about what's next after DePauw. So every single year throughout your 4 years at DePauw, a lot of professional development, resume builders, I guess you could call it, to make sure that you are set up for success and that you have something by the time you graduate. These past 2 years, we've had about 97, 98% placement, but our goal with the gold commitment is to have 100% placement. So within 6 months of graduating, for some reason, stuff has slipped through the cracks, it hasn't worked out, you can fall back on us as your safety net and either come back to campus to take a semester 2 or 3 of classes, or we can get you in touch with one of our alumni and connect you with that entry-level position that you've been looking for to get your foot in the door with that career path of your choice. Anything to add, Em?
No, I think you perfectly hit it. I think it's our alumni network, like you mentioned, is definitely something to take advantage of, because that's one of the beautiful parts of going to a small school is that you have the connections, because it's such a small community that people want to be involved with each other, and the alumni want to make sure that we are continuing the legacy of DePauw. And then also, like you said, the graduate school, I guess the people who work in the Hubbard Center, really awesome. Colleen McCracken specifically works for pre-health advising, and she has helped not only me, but a bunch of other people. And this could be like PA school, medical school, nursing school, any sort of medical field you might want to go into. She's one of the best people at the Hubbard Center to talk to.
That's awesome. Now, the most fun part, the application process. I know some of you might just be sophomores and juniors, others are seniors. I wanted to share that we have 2 different application processes that you can choose from, both of which are free to apply. I always recommend the common application just because I'm sure you're applying to so many other schools that fall under the common application. So you get to kill 10 birds with 1 stone, or 8 birds, or 20 birds, however many colleges you want to apply to. But on the right-hand side, you'll see a holistic review. And what that means is we literally look at every single piece of your application to see if you are a strong fit for DePauw, but also if we're a strong fit for you. So we are always looking for reasons to accept students, not for reasons to deny. It's not just about the numbers for us. Yes, last year's median average GPA was a 3.8. ACT fell around a 26. SAT was a 1230. We do super score ACT and SAT for students who've taken the test multiple times and want to bring up their average a little bit. But we also realized that seniors this year have had their tests canceled over and over and over again. So we've stuck with our test optional policy. This is our 3rd year that we've been test optional. That has been typically for students who feel that their scores don't represent well their academic abilities. But this year it's also kind of perfect. It's also for those students who just haven't been able to take the test, and it won't affect your opportunity for admission. It will not affect opportunities for merit scholarship either. Merit scholarship typically will look at test scores if you choose to submit them, your GPA, as well as your high school quality. So if you do not submit your test scores, that's where high school quality and GPA will be weighed a little bit more heavily. But students can receive between $18,000 and $35,000 in merit scholarship alone. But we do, again, like I said, want to make sure that you're a good fit for us, that we are going to see you succeed here throughout your 4 years. So that's why we look at the letters of recommendation, your school profile, which is basically what the secondary school report is. The transcript, we're looking at grade trends. We're looking at the classes that you've really excelled in. Have you challenged yourself in the different classes that are offered at your school? And then have you continued to challenge yourself throughout senior year? The activities piece, it also helps us really connect you to other opportunities across campus. Do you want to continue to be a part of those clubs and organizations that you were in high school, or do you want to try something new? And last but not least, affinity. The fact that you guys are here tonight listening to this presentation shows affinity to DePauw. I know we're also open for visits on campus, so if you're thinking that you want to stop by for a tour or information session, come see me and Emily in the admission office. We are open Monday through Saturday, so if that is another opportunity that you can sign up online for as well. But this is probably the most important page. I know I mentioned merit scholarship. We do have other scholarships that revolve around service, that revolve around leadership. We have a full tuition scholarship that goes to basically the top 8 to 10 applicants in our applicant pool every year. There's a parental ethics scholarship if you're really interested in ethics. And on the financial aid side of things, we do ask that families submit FAFSA. Additional tax documents might include W-2s or 1040 tax returns, but every family situation is different. So we treat every family as such that, you know, someone today is not going to be the same as someone tomorrow. So we keep that in mind as well. But on the left-hand side, you see our deadlines. The early decision deadlines are those binding contracts saying, no matter what, I love DePauw, I want to be here if I get in. That is awesome if you know that, but we also realize that you're 18 years old and you've got a lot of options in front of you. So that's why we also offer early action and regular decision. No matter which deadline you choose, you will get the same amount of merit scholarship. It doesn't matter which deadline in that regard. It's pretty fair across the board. I will say most students who are more interested in DePauw will typically apply either early action or early decision, but there is also nothing wrong with going regular decision. That doesn't, I guess, ruin your chances of admissibility, you could say. But Emily, how did you feel about the application process? Kind of walk us through your whole feelings of the Common App and everything.
Yeah, so I'm the oldest in my family, so I was, I guess you could say, breaking the ice. So I wasn't quite sure what I was doing, but my high school offered some workshops for us that I got involved with in the summer, and I also just sat down with my parents and we just went through like page by page. I also, before I even did the Common App, I kept a pretty good list of things I had been involved with, because sometimes things like slip through the cracks. You're like, oh wait, I forgot that was really awesome things that I did that I want to share, and like I want the admissions counselor to see that. But once I got the Common App done, it was basically just applied to, I think I applied to 8 schools. The essay writing portion was a little bit different. I probably started over 4 different times to decide on a topic to write about, but once you find the right topic for you, then you can really show who you are as a person. That's like the most important for admissions, because you want your counselor, whoever's reading your application, to get to know you as a person. And especially at DePauw, like that individuality that you have is what is most important for your admissions counselor. And then they can pull for you in different ways, because they are like, oh, I remember that girl's application. I remember Natalie actually had on my acceptance letter at the bottom said PS, and like wrote like a special line about what I had written about in my essay. And I was like, that's really awesome, because she probably was reading lots of them, but she still was like, oh, I remember what hers was about. And she put it in my acceptance letter. And that was kind of when I was like, DePauw's pretty cool. Like, we are valued as a person and not just a number. So that was my application process.
I can't believe you remember my PS statement. That's awesome. And I do read every single essay, but I will say that's what makes the applications fun. That is how students stand out to me, is by what they share in their essay. And you can really tell a lot about a student's personality or character, not just from the extracurriculars or the letters of recommendation, but for me, it always goes back to the essay and what they've shared about themselves, whether I've been able to meet them in person for an admission interview on campus, or maybe for, at this point, a virtual interview via Zoom. But even if I haven't, that's where the essay really comes in. Is, I know there's hundreds of students and applications that we read, but those really are sometimes the deciding factor with admitting a student or helping a student out, advocating for them for even additional scholarship, anything like that. But Emily, any wise words to students as they continue their college search?
Oh, that's a great question. I think that one, keep an open mind. There might not be that like one aha moment right away. I know that I kind of, as like time started moving on, I was getting accepted to places, but I didn't have like that aha moment. It kind of stressed me out, but just take your time, enjoy the process. This is like the one time in your life where you get to pick like where you want to be, what like this is what's going to shape you as a person. And so just enjoy it. It might be stressful and it might take some time, but that's okay. You don't need to know right away where you want to go. Obviously, I was back and forth between two very different places, and in the end, I felt comfortable with what I had decided, and that's what's most important. If it takes you time, just enjoy it, because this is a fun time for you.
Thank you. Well, I also want to ask, what has been your favorite part about DePauw, and what do you think is something that DePauw could work on for their students?
Ooh, okay. So I guess I'll start with my favorite thing about DePauw. I think my favorite thing is the size. I think that for me personally, having professors who know me, who know my name, who recognize me when I walk into a classroom when things are normal, and having them like know who I am, and then like when I go into their office hours, they're like, oh yeah, like they understand like like who I like, the background of like my personality. And I think that's one of the best things, is just knowing that you're an actual person and a student. And since I'm involved in both science and arts and humanities classes, like I enjoy that my science professors, when I go into their office hours, I'm comfortable enough to sit down and just talk to them, have a conversation. I know first year, I was in my calc professor's office every single Thursday. Her and I sat through and we would go through the homework problems I didn't understand. And she knew my name, I knew hers, and it was really awesome. And then for the arts and humanities side, like I kind of mentioned before, it's the discussion based. And that's not something you probably get at a bigger university. And when you walk into a room and it's not set up in like rows of desks and it's in a circle, it's like, that's really cool that I get to like discuss, and like that's when new ideas come, and that's when you get to share ideas and you get to learn how to like disagree with people, and also see new perspectives. And so I think that's probably one of my favorite things about DePauw. The second part is something I would improve. I'm not sure. I know this sounds cheesy, but I'm not sure I can think of anything right now. I've really appreciated my time. I've been the door's been open to so many different opportunities that I never thought I would have had the chance to participate in. And so I'm not sure I have anything off the top of my head right now.
That's okay. I mean, I also did put you on the spot, to be fair, so that one might be more of a thinker than anything. But I want to also open it up to anyone who might be in the audience who has questions that they have thought of. I know there's no questions yet in the chat, so feel free to put anything there. I know we still have a few more minutes, so we are here for a little bit longer for you. Emily, what would you say, I guess, could you name every single year, freshman, sophomore, junior, senior year, what has been your favorite thing about each year?
Ooh, okay.
If you want to start backwards too, I don't know, senior year's also been only a few weeks now, but.
Right. Senior year I might have to come back to, because we're still in the beginning stages. But actually, right. I think I know what I'll say. I'll start with first year though first. First year first. I think probably my favorite thing about first year is just when I came for my last tour at DePauw, I went on a tour with a girl who went to my high school, and I remember her telling me this was like a reset button. College is when you get to like just completely start over, be like a new person. And I think my favorite part about first year was that I really took advantage of that. I pushed myself in different classes. I made friends. I kind of came out of my shell, I guess you could say. I was kind of a quieter, more introverted person, and first year kind of just completely changed that. Sophomore year, let's see. I think my favorite thing about sophomore year was really like learning how to be like a student and how to manage my time, how to not like, if I come up, like if an obstacle comes up, how to like keep pushing through it, the different ways to like be better and the different study habits I learned. I feel like first year is kind of like get a grip of like your surroundings, like being alone or being away from home, meeting new people. And then sophomore year is kind of like, okay, I found my like group. Now it's kind of time to like start like really like pushing the academics and like figuring out like what works best for me. So I would probably say that was my favorite part about sophomore year. And then junior year, I think honestly it might have been, this is going to sound cheesy, but working in the admissions office, because it was definitely not something that I thought I would do, because I wasn't as introverted as I was in high school, but it didn't seem like something I would jump into and like interviewing people and having those conversations and doing campus tours and info sessions and then the outreach. And honestly, like became part of like my favorite part of the day was like going to the admissions office and just like sitting at the like concierge desk and like getting up and talking to parents and students on a Friday morning and just kind of getting to like meet new people. And it was honestly like a great learning experience for myself and like something I'll definitely take with me as I go out of college, which is so sad to believe that's happening just a couple months. But that's probably my favorite part about junior year. And then senior year, my favorite part.
I mean, maybe it's yet to come, senior year.
Yeah, it might be yet to come. But you know, I think being near campus is probably my favorite thing so far, considering everything that's happened in the world the last couple of months.
That's true. That's awesome. Well, kudos to you for saying admissions was one of your favorite things junior year. I appreciate that. And I've definitely seen your growth. I mean, that's what's great and really cool about a smaller institution too, is those connections with everybody and also continued connections, not just, you know, coming in freshman year, but also returning and seeing you junior and now senior year, and where you've come just with your communication skills and presentation skills. And I honestly didn't know you were shy until last week. Not gonna lie. Yep.
Yeah, and it was also kind of full circle because you were my admissions counselor and now you and I work together. And then the girl who gave me my final tour, who was like, this is your reset button, this is like the time you get to be a new person, she was also an admissions intern. And so it just all kind of like came full circle in the end.
Wow.
Of like,
that really did. Holy cow, that is crazy.
I
love that. We don't have any more questions, so I'm wondering if I'm going to stop sharing the screen, but do we end early or I'm okay with that.
We can, let me pull up the closing slide. So thanks all for attending. After this ends, there will be a quick 4-question survey that it would be great if you could fill out. Again, there's many more sessions coming up over the next couple weeks. Sign up at moacac.org. And if you miss any, you can see those recordings at moacac.org. Thanks for a great presentation and have a great night, everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Bye, Em. Thank you for helping. Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. Have a good one.
You too.